All right, we are ready to rock and roll. Hope everyone's having a great day. So we have with us Mr. Jason Snell. He works here in Utah and part of our Orem office. Jason has been a stellar agent for a long time, and the thing I love about him, I love seeing his Facebook post. He seems to be a person that's got great perspective on, taking care of being with the family and all that good stuff, but also a very hard worker. And he's just been great to work with over the years. So Jason, welcome, and thank you so much for participating today. It's great to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks for that kind introduction.
Yeah, the microphone's working. This is great. So Jason, do you mind just kind of sharing for the group a little bit about who you are, how long you've been in the business, some of that good stuff?
Sure. Yeah, I've been in the business for just over 4.5 years. Started the end of November in 2015. Married, 4 kids, 9-year-old, twin 8-year-olds, and a 2-year-old. Live out in South Utah County. Work out of the Orem office. What else do you want to know?
Well, that's a great introduction. And how about what were you doing before you got your real estate license?
Yeah, I worked for a company called Action Target out of Provo. They build training facilities for law enforcement, military, federal agencies, indoor and outdoor shooting ranges, live fire shoot houses, sophisticated targeting systems. I worked for them for about 9.5 years.
Wow, that's fun.
Territory manager. Yeah.
That's right. I remember you telling me about that. That's so cool. So cool. Well, so 4.5 years being in the real estate business. One thing I've observed from you is that, look, every year you're producing, you're doing great things. I have to believe, based on some of what I've seen, that this is probably your best year ever right now that you're in the middle of.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to share with the group sort of, and it may be now or it may have been a few years ago, but if you did have a year that was kind of like, wow, you really just, real estate kind of became your thing and it was a breakout year for you or something, or I don't know. And did you have a year like that where things just came together for you and you realized real estate was going to work? And then maybe what made the difference in allowing that to happen?
Yeah, I think it would have been my 3rd year in the business where my production increased significantly. And honestly, it wasn't that I was necessarily doing anything different. I think it just took, it's doing those small things consistently over time, and then it finally, manifests itself. And that was the year that it happened for me. And then last year, I did 260 in GCI, and this year I'm already at 200 for the year. So I think the other piece is just, as you get your name out there, as you do business, and as you create those relationships, those clients that I had initially met when I first started, in that 3rd year, they came back and they were ready to sell, or they were ready to buy another property, or they, referring people, etc. So anyway, I didn't really change anything. I just continued doing those small things until they came to fruition.
I love that. And that's actually a great testament to the idea of consistency, right? If you're continuing to do those small things, because I think it's fair to say you've been, it's great because you're on an upward climb, right? The trend line for you is heading up, but you've been consistent in closings and the ability to support the family and stuff from the beginning, right? And able
to. Yes, I have.
Yeah, which is huge. That's a great testament to you, and it's awesome. So, all right, so tell us about lead sources, perhaps. Like, who is it that you're connecting with? What are your efforts that you do to connect with people and all that good stuff?
Yeah, great question. So, I was born and raised here in Utah. I'm 42, so I've got a lot of relationships just from my previous careers and just from living in Utah. And so my focus is mostly SOI, and reaching out. When I first got in the business, I called every single person I knew and told them that I had just gotten into real estate. And that if they had any real estate needs, it would be my pleasure to assist them. And if they already had an agent that they were working with, then, please keep me in mind if anything changes with them. And then I've maintained those relationships and continue to reach out. And every time I reach out, it's with something where I'm adding value. It's not just a, hey, I'm here and I hope you remember who I am, but, offering something that may be of value or interest to them, keeping top of mind. I'm part of Century 21's e-lead team as well. And so I'll occasionally get leads from Century 21's website or from Op City or whatever the case may be. But the majority of my business does come from those relationships and people that I've known in the past. And then as I've done business with them and they've had excellent experiences, I've got a lot of business that's come from referrals.
I love that. And the key thing that you said there that I really like is just simply that you reached out to people and said, hey, here I am. I'm in real estate, so should you need anything, let me know, type thing. I like that approach.
Yeah, not high pressure, not, just information.
Yeah, that's the constant message. And look, we've got a whole group of people here on the phone, and we've got brand new agents, seasoned agents, you name it. But boy, guys, if you just take it from Jason alone here, your ability even just to notify people of what you're doing can make a huge difference. When you notify them that you can help them, and then you go and deliver on a great experience, look at what can happen. I mean, he's trending for $400,000+ this year. It's remarkable. So really huge. Okay, cool. So you mentioned in there that you're providing some type of value to these individuals. Can you expand upon that at all?
Absolutely. So one of my main focuses, or I guess differentiators, when I first got in the business was I paid attention to what frustrates me about other service-oriented industries or companies, and also what I felt they were doing well. And I really paid attention and focused on that. And I've actually done that in I've been in sales for 25+ years. And I had a previous poor real estate experience. and so I really focused on what irritated me about that experience as well. And so I just asked myself the question, what is it that I wish other companies did for me in the past or would do for me today that they don't, that I can do in my business? So it's just an example, and some of these things are really simple, but I feel like it's the simple things that set you apart. Doing what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, just, stupid, simple stuff like that. But answering your phone, being prompt, it drives me crazy when I call people, whether it's in real estate or for my own personal needs with another company, and I don't get a call that day, or I don't get a call back until several hours later. And I'm thinking, did they get my call? Are they going to call back? Do I just need to call somebody else? So just asking those questions, how can I set myself apart and provide a phenomenal customer service experience? The other thing that I am big on, that I think makes a big difference, and it's made a big difference in my career in real estate, is being self-accountable. When I play the victim, or when I don't take accountability for my failures, or when I blame everybody else, there's no growth in that. There's no introspection. There's no ability for me to improve my business, because I'm not even willing to recognize that an error was made. And so in every instance, if something happens with a client, I immediately look inside. How did I fail in this moment? What caused it? What can I change in my system? What can I change in my responses or my approaches or whatever it is, so that this failure never happens again? And then I change it, and then I correct it with them, and I take responsibility. And I can't tell you how many clients have said to me when a mistake has happened, I am so impressed with how you handled this. Thank you for being a man of your word. Thank you for, whatever it is. and stepping up and resolving it and not blaming somebody else and making sure that we were taken care of. And I've gotten a lot of referrals from clients just because of that.
Wow.
And it's improved my improved my systems, it's improved my business, because I'm willing to take accountability.
Right.
And those are the partners I look for as well. Whether it's my lender or my title guy or whatever, I'm looking for those same characteristics with those guys, because that's the type of person that I want to work with. And that's the type of person I want my clients to be working with.
That's an important lesson. I love what you said, because you said, after a mistake. I love the fact that you're kind of owning, like, yeah, I'm going to probably screw up, or someone on the team or whatever, but the reality is simple. It's not whether or not a mistake happens, but perhaps how do I handle it when that happens, and how do I move forward? That's great to have solutions there.
It can be hard to set your pride aside, and you may feel like it's absolutely others' faults, but I am a strong believer that there is always something that I personally can change to improve the experience moving forward.
Sort of the buck stops here type.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Cool. That's great, man. Well, okay. So, go ahead.
I was just going to say that there was one other thing, the last 2 years, that I have noticed in my own personal growth, and what a difference it's made with clients. And it's my ability to empathize with them. And that might seem lame or silly, but I have been asking myself the question really the last 2 years, and I feel like it's made a significant difference. But throughout the process, I'll say to myself, in this moment, how may my client be feeling?
Right.
And then I reach out and I say to them, hey, I was just thinking about you. If I were in your situation, I would be feeling this way right now. Is that accurate? Oh my gosh, yes. I was just thinking about that this morning. Thank you for reaching out. And whether it's something that needs to be resolved, or just them not feeling alone through the process, or whatever the case may be. But I have gotten time and time again, I'll take clients up to dinner after we close, and they'll say, we just felt like you knew exactly how we were feeling. And you knew exactly what we needed when we needed it. And that's empathy. And then those clients have just referred person after person after person. And it's funny. I mean, empathy in and of itself, most people know how to solve their own problems. They don't need us to come in and tell them what to do. But when they feel like they're not alone, it gives them the strength to move forward and fix that problem. Or I find out that there's a concern that I can play a role in getting it resolved. And so just occasionally through the transaction, I'll reach out and I'll say that. Or even during that first, in a listing appointment, when you're going through all those questions and you're trying to gauge how they're feeling. So as an example, I just had a client that was buying and selling. And it came out, through this process that, hey, we're really concerned about our home selling before we found a place to buy, and we don't want to move twice.
Sure.
And they mentioned it when we went out to dinner. They said, you were so cognizant of that, and you were we never felt like it was going to go awry because you knew how we felt. You were working to take care of it. One other example that's kind of funny. On this same transaction, actually, we had 15 offers. And when I sent out the notifications to all the agents that we had selected an offer, one particular agent reached out and just totally blasted me. He was so angry that they had lost. He felt like the home had been underpriced, which, by the way, we had appraisal issues on this one. It was not underpriced. But he felt like that was the reason there were so many offers, and his client was so upset with them, and how, anyway, he just ranted in this email. And it really bothered me. Like, it kept me up that whole night. I didn't respond, but I thought on it that whole night. I thought of all the areas that he was so out of line on. And what am I going to say to this guy? And then I was like, you know what? I put myself in his shoes and I said, this guy is probably struggling for a commission. He needs to feed his family. He's super discouraged that he lost. He's feeling the pressure from his client. I need to empathize with this guy. I don't need to send him back an email telling him in all the areas that he's wrong or you know, getting angry back. And so I sent him an email the next morning, basically to that effect. Hey, I don't blame you for your email whatsoever. I would feel super frustrated if I were you too. I'm sure that I know how hard it is when you lose a home and how difficult it is to bear that burden of feeling like your clients are discouraged with you. And I sent him that email and he replied 3 times apologizing and saying, thank you so much. I feel so bad for that email I sent. I sent it in a moment of frustration and anger. It had nothing to do with you. Thank you so much for that email. And he sent, over the course of that day, he sent 3 emails just saying, I want to apologize again. I want to apologize again. and
That's awesome.
And it was just, I could have been prideful. I could have blown that whole thing into a really negative experience, but I instead just chose to empathize.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is so powerful. And maintaining those, and the way it benefits me, maintaining those relationships with agents, because guaranteed sometime down the road, he's going to have a listing and I'm going to bid on it. And if I destroy that relationship and burn that bridge, what are the chances of me winning that home for my client? So I've just come to believe that empathy is so powerful in our industry and in any industry, in life, period.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's great. Thank you so much. That's huge. I hope everyone's listening because, you know, it's really twofold. It's just the idea of some incredible perspective on how to treat people and how to just win in communication. And I'm saying that, I mean, I hate to use the word win there because it's like, I don't think your intentions are anything other than just to make somebody feel okay and treat somebody in a great way. And so it's awesome that you do that. I mean, we hear that statement so often, like if you'll treat people as if they're going through the hardest time of their life, you'll be right more often than not. And boy, that's great perspective. And then the side benefit to helping someone else feel good is just that, hey, you're going to have guaranteed you are going to have an opportunity to connect with that person in the future. And they're going to want to make sure you're well taken care of in whatever that means, you know, and that, I think that's great. Good job. That's really neat. That's a good story. So talk to me about, for the group here, like if you were sitting down in front of like a brand new real estate agent right now, and they said, hey, I just got my license. I see what you've accomplished in the last 5 years. What would you tell me to start doing every day? What would your advice be?
Great question. I can only speak from my personal experience. But what I did was I immediately got on the phones. I sat in that cubicle at the Orem office and I called everyone I knew all day long for that first month. And I had a lot of agents say, man, you know, experienced agents that were sitting around me in their cubicle. And they just said, thank you for setting that example. I need to do what you're doing. I've been in the business for 10 years or 5 years or 4 years or whatever. And thank you for doing this. It's so easy listening to you just call everybody up and let them know that you're in the industry, and I need to do it. Thank you for setting that example. And that's literally, I got deals right off the bat that very first month because I was just notifying everybody that I was in real estate. And obviously they knew I wasn't experienced. They knew that I hadn't been in the business long. But because of my reputation just as a individual with integrity, they knew they could trust me, and they you know, hired me to either find their home. I got a listing that very first month, and I got a buyer that very first month, just from calling everybody that I knew.
Yeah, huge. I mean, and I know you're speaking the truth because I know there's a lot of agents out there right now that are still saying, got to get that list together, got to work my SOI. I mean, we could go off on this for a long time, but agents, boy, great perspective there is just do those simple things of communicating with, connecting with, and notifying your SOI or COI, if you use that terminology, that you are in real estate sales and can help them should they need you. Even just notifying them, goes such a long way. Everybody's doing deals with their SOI, right? But like, are they actually creating opportunities? It's pretty remarkable. So awesome. That's great. Okay. Schedule wise, you mentioned you've got 4 kids under the age of 10. What do you do to balance your work life and your family life and all that good stuff? What's your schedule like? How do you find balance? All that.
So I am a very, very much a creature of habit, and I actually created, I don't know if you can see this, but I created on my phone alarms all throughout the entire day of every single thing of basically my schedule, and it notifies me, and then so I have alarms going off all day, every day. My wife gets a little annoyed sometimes, but I wake up, drink water, do my own morning scent, work out, prospect, contact someone and express gratitude, read my 10 pages a day. I set out a chunk of time where this is where I'm going to schedule all my appointments.
Okay.
And I have those alarms go off every single day, all day long, to keep me on track. And so I've got time scheduled in there for my kids. I've got time scheduled in there for family dinner. I've got time scheduled in there for, when it comes to a calendar basis or a daily basis, whether you're a spiritual person or you're not a spiritual person, pick a day out of the week that you don't work. Like for me, that's Sunday. I don't work. I don't look at my phone. I don't respond to texts if it's real estate related. And that is the time for my family. And then, Monday evenings, someone wants to see a house or whatever. Oh man, I'm sorry. I've already got an appointment scheduled. And I chunk out, I block out Monday evenings for my families. And then for the rest of the week, I'm pretty available as far as real estate goes. But however you design that, that's how I found balance. And last quarter, second quarter of this year was actually my best quarter ever. I did 120,000 in GCI just that quarter.
Wow.
And that was a check. That was, I'm not a team. I'm a solo, I'm a one-man show other than my transaction coordinator. That and my wife will probably attest. I was a little more difficult to find balance.
Yeah.
I was working 75, 80-hour weeks. I was gone a lot at nights, but it can be done. It can be done if you're what's the word I want? If you're purposeful about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And here's the great thing is that now you've had that experience. When that happens again, you'll be better prepared, and hopefully you probably learned some stuff through that process that will make you better the next time you're doing that, which is great.
Totally. Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Well, man, you've done a ton, and very, very excited about what you've accomplished, and just, of course, always grateful for who you are as an individual and how you represent our industry, the agent base in general, and of course, Century 21 Everest. So just huge thank you to you. We love working with you. Do you have any final thoughts or advice or anything you'd want to share with the group?
I guess I'll say this. One thing that attracted me to Century 21 Everest right out of the gate was their focus on self-development.
Yeah.
And the idea that success is just a byproduct of who you're becoming. And I totally buy into that, and I completely 100% believe that. And I know that over the course of the last 4.5 years, I have become someone very different than I was 4.5 years ago. And so I attribute that as well to my continued growth in the business, that it truly is just representative of who I am becoming as a person. I've never read like I read today. I've never been as scheduled and as consistent as I am today. And I just so believe that if we're growing in the other aspects of our life, spiritual, relationship, physical, whatever it is, that it 100% impacts our business.
Wow. Well said, man. And thank you. And that's huge. And it's awesome to hear about that idea, because we do talk about that idea so much of like, you know, look, we're a personal development company that happens to sell real estate. And often I will be sitting with someone sort of just saying, hey, this is why you should be a part of the company. And we've got so many great examples, including you, of people that just say, yeah, I mean, just being a part of Everest helped me become a better person because of that focus. And that's really priceless. I at least for me it is. And I would assume for you, when you're saying, I read now and I focus on these things, it's really amazing what that's done for me and for my family. And I think you feel the same way. So it's pretty powerful. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Huge thank you to you. Seriously, love working with you. Love connecting with you. And I hope that everyone took away some great things. I'm actually going to rewatch this again, because I need to take a few notes on that empathy stuff, because you guys, if you just 2 huge takeaways from me today. Number 1, great example of actively working and speaking and communicating and notifying your sphere of influence. It works, right? Some of you are killing yourselves on just listed, just sold, FSBOs, and expireds. Not that you shouldn't call them, right? But Jason is living proof that if you will connect with your SOI, amazing things can happen. So look at your personal sphere of influence systems and strategies and identify, really, can you improve upon that and connect more with them? And then second, of course, is just that ability to connect, that ability to empathize, and the ability to show empathy toward others. Boy, you can sure be a great calming influence on others. You can help people have a better day. You can help understand people better. And really your communications with others will be so much more calm and better. So Jason, thanks again.
And it translates to referrals. I mean,
yes.
Honestly, that's what it becomes. It's,
Yeah, no, and that's what's huge, is that, look, you can hear when Jason does that, and he talked about it, it was from a place of pure, like, I want to be a better person and provide a great customer service experience. And one last thing that it was a takeaway for me was when you said, you asked this great question, and I know we've had some people join since, but Jason will think about a client and the transaction they're in the middle of, and he'll say, how would I be feeling right now if I were them? And if you think about asking that question, and then it's going to result in a phone call unquestionably, or some type of extra communication. And boy, what's the number 1 complaint you hear about when there's a poor real estate relationship? It's communication. So what an awesome idea to call people up and say, hey, you know, if I were you, here's how I'd be feeling right now. And you're going to be right probably 99% of the time, and boom, create value. So anyway, just those are 3 huge takeaways. Thank you so much, Jason. Everybody have a phenomenal day today. We're going to do some closing affirmations here, and go have an awesome day.